All right, we are back.
Hello, we are
Namu
back.
Amida
Namo
Butsu.
Midabutsu. It's good to see you.
So
Yeah.
good to see
So, but
you again.
yeah, again and again. Um, yeah. So we were gonna sort of bring in for this session, bring in the lamp for the latter ages kind of
Mhm.
teachings to just add
Yes,
that.
and this, of course, is Shinron's letter that he wrote. So it's Shinron's own words.
Indeed. Let me find the right page and make sure I've got it on the right. Oh, I know what I did. Nope. That's the wrong. Bear with me a moment. Oh, yeah, this is the one. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right, here we go. So, gonna share my screen. Unrehearsed, unscripted, teleprompter free. There we are. Oh, what's going on? There. Okay. At last.
Mhm.
So, the two I thought I had in mind were this should never occur, maybe, and words like this should never be said.
Mm.
But are there any others that before that?
I think those are great, actually.
Yeah, good places to. Okay.
And then we might want to add, I have one of
Want to?
Rennyo's letters from Classical 3 of Okumi or Gorisho, which
Yeah.
also relates, he discusses Shinron's, you know, what Shinron says about these things. So that might be good to
Okay.
read after we read and discuss one of these.
Okay. Let's do that. All right. So should we start here then? This should never occur.
Mhm. So this is from which collection? Lamp for the Latter Ages.
Lab for
Okay.
the latter ages, Shinran works, collected works of Shinran online.
Hmm.
So, uh, and obviously reading for educational purposes, fair use, and all that. But I think they do freely allow it to be used for these kinds of purposes.
I believe so.
So this should never occur. I have heard that knowing nothing of the scriptures or of the true foundation of the Pure Land teaching, you are telling people that you are telling people who are appallingly self-indulgent and lacking in shame that a person should do evil just as he or she desires. This is absolutely wrong. Were you not aware that I have finally broke off relations with uh, Zenjo Bo, uh, who lived in the Northern District? If a person justifying himself by saying he is a foolish being can do anything he wants, then is he also to steal or to murder? Even that person who has been inclined to steal will naturally undergo a change of heart if he comes to say Nembutsu aspiring for the land of bliss. Yet people who show no such sign of sorry, yet people who show no such sign of being told that it is permissible to do wrong, this should never occur under any circumstances. Maddened beyond control by blind passions, we do things we should not, and say things we should not, and think things we should not. But if a person is deceitful in his relations with others, doing what he should not and saying what he should not because he thinks it will not hinder his birth, then it is not an instance of being maddened by passion. Since he purposefully does these things, they are simply misdeeds that should never have been done. if you say something to stop the wrongdoing of the people of, sorry, if you say something to stop the wrongdoing of the people of Kashima and Na Namakata and correct the distorted views of the people in that area, it will be the sign that you are representing me. It is deplorable that you have told people to abandon themselves to their heart's desires and to do anything they want. One must seek to cast off the evil of this world and to cease doing wretched deeds. This is what it means to reject the world and to live the Nembutsu. Key phrase, to live the Nembutsu. Not just say it, not just, you know. When
Yeah.
people who have, when people who have made, sorry, when people who have, sorry, let me try one more time here. When people who may have said the Nembutsu for many years abuse others in word or deed, there is no indication of rejecting this world. Thus,
Mm.
Shandao teaches in the passage on sincere mind that we should be careful to keep our distance from those people who are given to evil. When it has when has it ever been said that one should act in accordance with one's mind and heart, which are evil? You who are totally ignorant of the sutras and commentaries and ignorant of the Tathagata's words must never instruct others in this way. Respectfully, birth into the Pure Land has nothing to do birth in the Pure Land has nothing to do at all. Sorry, let me try one more time. Birth in the Pure Land has nothing at all to do with the calculation of foolish beings. Since it is completely entrusted to the primal vow of the Buddha, it is indeed other power. It is ridiculous to try to calculate in various ways. 11th month, 24th day, Shinran.
Which letter is this in Show?
This should never be, this should never occur as the
Does
name.
it have the number? I forget if the Shinran letters
Yes,
have
I
the
have to
number.
go to one sec. Let me bring it up this way. I think they're numbered if we go into it down here. Go that way. No, it doesn't. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12,
Hmm.
16. This is 16, I think. Did I
Okay,
get
so
it?
it's the only reason I ask is
Sorry, you're fading out there. You're
oh, I'm
swelling.
sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only reason I asked is because I was thinking of bringing up the Japanese
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, please do. I
for
think
my
it's,
own reference.
yeah, it's probably 16 or 17. I would, if I, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yes, is 16. Oh,
Yeah, I found it.
I've lost my place now.
Um, so no, it's all right. Yeah. So I mean, I think Shinron's letters have a tendency to be very straightforward, and this one is, I think, no exception.
Yeah.
He's basically just saying, addressing the problem. People say, "I'm a Bombu, therefore that excuses whatever I do." Right?
Yeah. Nope.
We
Nope.
all have
It does
probably
not.
met people like
Yeah.
that. Or I'm a Bombu. I make mistakes, but since I'm doing it all for the Buddha Dharma, it's all good, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That kind of excusing oneself
Hmm. Hmm.
based on the fact
Exactly.
that one's a Bombu, which is dumb because Of course you are all. You're
Yeah, exactly.
all who are unenlightened are by definition. That doesn't that doesn't get you off the hook for your karmic deeds,
Yeah, exactly. Because like throughout the whole thing, this is the some of the key things here I that sort of um, jump out at me here is uh, even that person who has been inclined to steal or just in this case say whatever,
right?
declined to do whatever evil, will naturally undergo a change of heart if he comes to say Nembutsu aspiring for the land of bliss. So
Mm.
if Amida, if you've truly encountered Amida's light, call, working, etc., you're going to naturally undergo a change of heart,
Hmm.
powered by Amida, enabled by
Yeah.
Amida. So,
Yeah. And I think, there's this is a topic where I think there's been a lot of misunderstanding because the someone who lives the truth and reality of China now is actually kind of because, and this is where becoming your truest self. That doesn't just mean, well, we get to do whatever we want,
mhm,
right? That's not,
no.
that's like what an animal. Um, it's actually, I'm reading this book about yoga chara, mind representation only, by a Japanese professor who is very well versed in that tradition, um, or that philosophy. And he quotes this, Hakuin, I think, who's very famous. Everybody knows, I believe, the Zen master, Hakuin. Right? He has that famous image, Hakuin Eikaku. Um, and he said, sentient beings are not sentient beings, and therefore they are called sentient beings, which is a typically abstruse in sort of koan. But so we cannot become aware of ourselves as Bombu without power from outside, and
Exactly.
indeed from the light that shines upon us, let's say.
Exactly.
Um, and so sentient beings are not sentient beings. There's a negation that takes place, and then we come back to our true selves, as it were. And in a Shin context, this means at first we are simply like everybody else, unawakened, going through our lives self-centered in this self-centered world of our own creation, right? Um, but we're not aware of that fact, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
we are not yet truly Bombu in the sense that Onan is talking about, because we're not actually aware of our own self-centeredness, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
That's just how most people. But when we become made aware through our encounter with Anita's light of our unenlightenment and how all of our actions, as it says, are powered by our self-centeredness, uh, then we become aware of ourselves as, for the first time, acting as often. And that's
Mm.
what becoming your foolish self means in this context.
Yeah.
Um, is that through this sort of experience of awakening to Anita's compassion, we we actually come to see, to be aware of ourselves as Bombu for the first time, and then we see suddenly how all of these actions thought were so great and how we are actually influenced by our Bondo, right? How it's all
Exactly.
coming from this self-centered,
Or selfishness and arrogance.
yeah, yeah. And so, in that regard, in retrospect, we see um, even supposedly good things and so on that we do are all sort of have this, we're incapable, Shinran says, of actions that are true, hence that um, Dharmakara uh, practice and so on. So yeah, that's but just to say, well, and that's kind of the change of heart that comes about. What he's talking about here is once you become aware that of your actions as being motivated by the ego, right? Ego consciousness,
Mhm.
you are naturally going to be, without even really thinking about it, you're going to kind of be more, I think, aware of how your actions are influenced by Bodo. And so you're actually going to kind of be putting a brake on it, or, you know.
Yeah.
And that comes about just
Yeah,
simply
exactly.
through
Yeah.
that encounter, really, which I think is what Shinran is saying here. Right?
Yeah. It's sort of it's a natural thing.
Yeah, and
If
it's
you're
yeah. So that is my
Mhm.
sort of uh, perspective.
On that. Yeah,
And
definitely.
then
So it's just important, I just think, to raise this aspect of things
yeah,
because you can't
absolutely.
because I think certain things
Right. I mean, especially
can
if you're
be
on the internet, which thankfully
yeah,
I'm not anymore. But
yeah,
I mean, there's people claiming to be Shin Buddhists and whatnot who, call people names,
yeah, yeah.
and behave in ways that aren't actually acceptable for anybody to behave
Anybody, let
in.
alone Buddhists,
Let alone
Let
someone,
alone unbecoming of Buddhists.
let
Yeah,
alone someone claiming to be a Buddhist, right?
yeah, yeah. Exactly, exactly. So the so that was one thing um I wanted to kind of highlight, and then there's
Mm.
another. Is there anything else you want to say about that, or anything else you want to highlight? There was something else along a similar line I wanted to.
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah, I think Shinran, the reason Shinran does put that sort of afterword on this letter, the sort of PS,
yeah.
is because he doesn't want people to think that they have to correct
Yes.
their own minds in order to be born
Yes.
in.
See, this is another yes, yes. Exactly. I wanted to say that. This is something that gets conflated in people's discussions, I think a lot. The whole, oh, we're Bombu and we're ordinary foolish beings. So yes, so that means, you know, our minds are going to be Bombu to the very last moment
Right.
of death. We're not going to be able to kind of correct that. We're
Yeah.
not of our own power and our self power. We're not going to be able to sort that out.
Mm.
We're not going to be able to sort out our mind stream in this through practices and through,
Yeah.
through following precepts and and doing practices and you know
Mm.
um, you know we're not going to be able to sort it out through self power. So there's that part. So that there's nothing you can do about it. Doesn't now on the other hand, it's this is where I think the implications what Shinran is saying here is that doesn't mean you shouldn't do anything about your mental health.
Hmm.
Doesn't mean you
Oh,
shouldn't
absolutely not.
doesn't mean you
Yeah.
shouldn't do anything about
Sure.
your
Of course.
do you know what I mean, addiction,
Yep.
or it doesn't,
Yep.
or your mental difficulties and or
Right.
emotional difficulties in life. Doesn't mean you can't do things and shouldn't do things to
Hmm.
try to improve your mental health, or do something appropriate about your distress or your stress or your problems in life. You
Yeah,
know, you
absolutely.
still should be doing that. But as far as the project toward enlightenment, that's
Yeah,
settled.
yeah. It's
There's
like
nothing we could do.
the
There's nothing we could do about that.
the two
Yeah.
kinds of deep faith, right? Shantao talks about the Nishu Jinji, the deep conviction or deep conviction. One is that you are a being who is transmigrating through samsara with no hope in oneself of ever getting out of that, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then the other conviction is that simply by boarding the power, boarding the vows of the Buddha,
Yes.
one
Yes.
attains birth.
Twofold conviction.
Yes.
A simultaneous twofold conviction. Yeah. So yeah. So
Now, do we
that's.
want to move on to
But what I'm just trying
discussing?
to say is
Sure.
is I just want to say that sometimes that gets conflated into this whole discussion about how we
Yes.
should be conducting ourselves. Somehow, oh well, we can't be
Mm-hmm.
doing because it's self-power. No, it's not. You should be naturally, do you know what I mean? You should be naturally
Right.
trying to do this, accepting that you're going to fail and you're going to,
Sure.
you're not going to be able to, you're because we are Bombu, we're going to have difficulties in,
Yeah.
in monitoring and doing our, but we should try.
Mm-hmm.
We shouldn't be
Yeah.
proud of the fact that we can't. And we
Yeah.
should,
And
and
that
we also
really
shouldn't
is.
be, we shouldn't also be proud of the fact that when we do, because it's not
Yeah.
because of us.
And
It's
we shouldn't
because,
think that, you know, and this is where Rennyo's letter I think is helpful.
yeah,
None of this like absolves us from our human responsibility to
yes,
act as a human being,
yep,
right?
humaneness, yeah,
Yeah. And when we get to Rennyo's letter,
yeah.
on that too, because
Can I just say one other thing here before we move on?
sure.
There was another thing in here that really stuck out.
Hmm.
Um, where was it? Where it says live. Yes. This is so one must seek to cast off the evil of this world and to cease doing wretched deeds. It's very clear. There's no yeah. This is what it means to reject the world and to live the Nembutsu. I'd love to know what the Japanese, but that's a
Yeah,
pretty.
I can
I
let
mean,
me.
to me, that's what it's about. I'm not just being a Nembutsu follower doesn't just mean I say the Nembutsu. You know,
Mhm.
I'm living you're living this path. You're living this way of life. You're
Right.
living Nembutsu.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Let me look because I'm also curious what the
Yeah.
Japanese there is. It looks like yo no waruki oste. So throwing away the evil of this world. Ashiki koto seizan koso yo o hitoi nimbutsu mosu koto de wa soro ni toshigoro ninbutsu o suru hito non dono hito no tame ni ashiki koto mata imosen wa yo o yeah, it's basically that's pretty much a good translation.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, that's essentially what it's saying.
Yeah, so that's good because that's how I what I get from the teachings, what I've intuited, what I feel like I've been enabled and empowered to see in the teachings
Yeah.
is it's a lived way of life.
Yeah, in fact,
It's a fully,
Suzuki.
and that includes your
Mm,
conduct, that
yeah,
includes your responsibilities in life, that includes, you know,
yeah.
yeah,
Suzuki DT Suzuki, who is most famous as a popularizer of Zen in the West, but he also actually wrote a lot about Shin too. Um, and he even translated Kyogyo Shinshu, Shinran's Kyogyo Shinshu, which, get that translation from Oxford University Press. But anyway, he translates Dai Gyo, so great practice. When Shinran speaks of great practice and Inbutsu as great practice, he does a very interesting translation, unusual translation. He says, and he translates it in English as great living, because the practice of Amida is actually, the totality of our lives, as it were. And so I think that's a pretty cool translation that
Yeah.
maybe expresses it better, because we're used to hearing that we don't have a practice, right? There's the ninbutsu is not a practice, Shinran says. So to
Yeah.
call it, on one hand we can say it's great practice, but for some people that might still give kind of a whiff of some sort of something we have to power through
Mm.
ourselves, Whereas if you say great living, well, that really opens it up to
Mm.
something that lies beyond my
Yes.
grasping self, right?
Yes.
Because now
Yes. Agreed.
I am
Yeah.
these, uh, so I think that's an interesting, and that kind of ties
And
into
that
the
ties into
ways.
definitely ties into
Yeah.
this. Yeah. You know, to live the Nembutsu. Yeah.
Mm.
It's I think in general, I kind of sort of came up to this in the discussion that, some of the discussions or it's a way I worded it when Johan and I were talking about the whole vegetarian
Mm-hmm.
question. And,
Mm. Yeah.
um, you know, I said, it's, you you know, um, something along the lines of, on the one hand, okay, so we're Bombu, right? We're foolish, ignorant beings. So on the one hand, we shouldn't justify ourselves,
Right.
our lack of, either our bad conduct or lack of good conduct. We shouldn't justify that or rationalize it, or we're not justified by being Bombu, by knowing we're Bombu and being Nembutsu follows. We're not justified in doing those things by being that, on the
Mm-hmm.
one hand. On the other hand, when we do good things and we do turn away from evil and we do when we refrain from bad things, bad conduct, we shouldn't be proud of that either, because it's not because of us. We're being empowered.
Mm-hmm.
We're being empowered by Amida to do so. We're being
Right.
empowered naturally by Amida to do those things. So, do you see what I mean?
Yep.
I think that's part of the Bombu
Yeah, it's kind of like,
life.
Rennyo also has a saying, Goichi Daiki, the sayings like Rennyo. Um, chewing but not swallowing. He's referring to our lives as, just because we eat chickens and have a spouse, have wives and all of the things that come along with that, um, doesn't mean that we should think of ourselves as good people.
Yeah.
For you know, um, well, I wish I could find the actual quote, but in its essence, that's what he says.
Mm, mm,
And yeah, I think that's a good, thing to remember. Unfortunately, the website that was maintained by Richard St. Clair,
yeah. It looks like that's
was
being,
it's gone now.
it's gone. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
don't know if it expired or what happened, but
Yeah.
I used that had a lot of great research.
It
Uh,
did. It did. Yeah. It
so
did.
yeah, RIP to yet another English resource on Shin Buddhism
Yeah.
on the web. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Well,
I would have,
I said while it was up, I was grateful, even though he had, decided that
yeah.
he was leaving Jodo Shinshu, he had left it up for as long as he did. I'm
Yeah,
happy,
yeah.
I'm grateful that that was there. But yeah, that's why I'm using George Gattenby's website now for things like
Yes.
Renyo's
So I did
letters.
notice, fortunately, and I'm guessing Reverend John Paraskevopoulos, he is sort of the caretaker, I believe, of that website now that Reverend George
Mm,
passed on.
yeah.
Um, he I think is keenly aware of some of the resources that are on the web, and he may have
Okay.
noticed that the the Rick St. Clair site was gone, and I think that's why he uploaded the PDF of Rennyo's letters to George
Oh, okay.
Gatby's
Oh,
site.
great. Yeah.
Is at least is my guess, because that
Yeah.
used to kind of be the go-to, I think, if you
Hmm.
Google
Yep.
Rennyo.
Yeah.
But unfortunately now it's
It's
not
it's
there.
not available.
So
So
thanks to Reverend John for making
yeah.
that
Yeah. Fantastic.
available to
The
us.
caretaker, yeah, of the um so shall is there anything else you wanted to say specifically about this letter and
No. Do we want to read the
the other?
Rennyo letter, or at least
Yeah, the
the
other.
passage from
The
it,
Rennyo letter, do you want to
and
go to the Rennyo letter or do you want to go to the other one? Is that what you said?
yeah, the Rennyo one. Let me
Okay. All right.
see if I've
Yeah, let me
got it
stop. I'll
here.
stop sharing and you can
Sure.
and then we'll maybe next
Uh,
time we'll go to the other one that I
yeah.
the other
Um,
letter.
okay, so yeah, this is just a good letter.
Oh, let me enable. Oh yeah, there you go. There you go. Okay.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. This is from Fasciculi 3 of Ofumi and Gobusho. Um, on the services held every year without exception. I can read it, I guess, or would you
Yeah.
like to
Yeah,
read
go ahead. Yeah, yeah.
it? Okay.
Sure. I read the last one.
Um, as the 28th of this month is the anniversary of the death of our founder, Master Shinran, services have been held every year without exception, recognition of our indebtedness and in grateful response to his benevolence. Even the most humble fellow practitioners come at this time from the various provinces and districts. Those who fail to recognize their indebtedness must indeed be like wood instead. Although this foolish old man, that's Rennyo referring to himself, has somehow lived past 4 or 5 years in the hope of recoup in a remote corner of the mountains by the sea, it is beyond all expectation that he is still alive and has come to this province, and that this year, for the first time, we shall celebrate Thanksgiving services together in honor of the Master's anniversary. This is indeed the result of inconceivable past conditions. I rejoice over it more and more deeply, time and again. By the way, this Thanksgiving services is Ho'onko, so
Okay.
the annual celebration or
Mm.
memorial, rather, of Shinran's passing. People who gather from this and other provinces should, therefore, first of all, be fully aware of the significance of the regulations established by the founding master. He said, even if you are called a cow thief, do not act in such a way that you are seen as a follower of the Buddha Dharma or as an aspirant for Buddha. Besides this, he also carefully stipulated that we should observe the principles of humanity, justice, propriety, wisdom,
Ooh.
and sincerity,
Yep.
and that we should honor the laws of the state, and that deep within we should take other our faith established by the right vow as fundamental. So I did want to
Mm.
can I get rid of this R? Okay. I did want to point out that in this letter, even if we're called a cow, so Ushi Nusu, literally someone who steals cattle. And then Utposha, Gosesha. So basically a Buddhist, right? A follower of the Buddha Dharma or aspirant for the afterlife, as people were often called in those days. Um, and then here, Jin, Gi, Wei, Qi, Xin. So these are the traditional Confucian virtues, essentially. Um, and
Yep,
these would
exactly.
be
That's the five principles.
justice, propriety, um, what was it? Just humanity
Humanity,
is
justice,
G.
propriety, wisdom, and sincerity.
Yeah. And so, it's interesting, and I've always found this interesting, is that Rennyo actually gives these principles of humanity as kind of the guide for our lives.
Hmm.
As
Exactly.
opposed to, he could say, because there are Buddhist texts and sources that have lists of rules like the 10 good, you know, actions, right? The 10
Hmm.
good deeds and to be, and the 10 evil deeds to be avoided. But he gives instead this more, um, you know, uh, you could say secular uh,
Yep.
sort of
Common to
list
all.
of,
Common
yeah,
expect
yeah,
common to all. So that
common
it's another one.
expectations.
Yeah. It's not like, so we're not, we're, even the guidelines for our conduct are like humilityized, if that's a word,
Mm.
or kind of like we're not going to be just
Hmm.
this is another way where it's sort of like we're by even by living by these guidelines, we're not going to be shown to be any better or worse than anybody else trying to, because
Right. And
this is the general expectation of everyone in society, these Confucian, well,
yeah,
I say Confucian is, Confucian virtues or Confucian, but it's Buddhism in disguise virtue. I
well,
call
and who,
Confucianism Buddhism in disguise. Anyway,
we don't
um,
need to say, like Rennyo is not saying we should become followers of Confucius,
no,
right?
no,
Or
exactly,
something.
no, no,
He's
no.
just
Yeah,
saying
it's
these,
what I'm even pointing out is reinforcing that, because
right.
these were the principles that by this point were just no just just part of the culture now. It wasn't like
Yes,
people going around,
correct,
well,
correct.
I'm following Confucianism, so I'm following
Yes,
Confucian
exactly.
philosophy because so I'm following these five principles. No, it was just because it was just so inculcated. This
Yeah,
was just culture. This was just cultural expectations for your
right.
behavior. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah,
It's not like
yeah.
even
And
people I would say probably weren't aware they were Confucian. Some
right.
people were probably in certain classes and certain, do you know what I mean,
Hmm.
educated, but most people probably just they were just okay. These are just how we're expected to behave. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
and
Reinforcing what you're saying is that they
exactly.
weren't
Yep.
teaching to follow Confucianism. It was just these are the principles that everyone in society follows or is expect
Hmm.
not no it's not everyone is expected,
Right.
as you say, like in a secular way to follow, in a cultural way to follow, so
Yeah. And in
we
an
should do
ethical,
likewise.
like
Yeah.
an ethical way. I mean, if you go back to early Confucian thought, Confucius, he was very much um, not uh, not like creating a religion, right? He was
Hmm.
more
Hmm.
interested in ethics and humanity and the principles, especially if you read the Analects, uh, which not everybody is aware. Somehow I lost my ability to. Am I still sharing?
You are, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Let me. I'm not really sure how I get the menu back.
How
But
you can what
okay.
get what? Okay,
Well, I don't know how I can stop sharing. Can you stop sharing for me, maybe?
I think I can, yeah, actually.
Okay.
Why it won't let you stop sharing? Let's
No, because I hid the menu. Can't find it.
okay, hold on.
Um,
Yeah, see if I
but
can do.
anyway. So
One
the
sec. I've got to go into the advanced setting. So, well,
oh,
while we're doing this, hold on. Let me. Uh, no, I don't know how to stop it sharing at your end. You're
that's so
you're
bizarre. Yeah,
you're
I
stuck.
lost.
The buttons.
Yeah, I
The.
basically can't.
All right. Let me.
Yeah,
I think I can just
very
share.
weird.
So, what are you trying to share now?
Oh wait, here we go. Here we go. I found it.
Oh, you
I
found
found
it.
it.
Okay.
Oh, am I sharing now?
You are. You're still sharing. Yeah.
Whoa, that's weird. Okay.